It's not live yet on my end. All right, there we go. It's not live yet on my end. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. Right. It's not live yet on my end. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. Right. It's not live yet on my end. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. Right. It's not live yet on my end. Yeah, there we go. All right. Just time to just link everybody. Not live yet on my end. Here we go. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Sad. Sad. Sad.
Why is it looping? I didn't do that in my old system. Bop. 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 Oh, Oh. Balalap. 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 It's still looping. What the heck? 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 Balalap. Okay, let's see if it's still looping. Well, it's echoing. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, I'm gonna try something new. Does this work? Let's see if it works. Oh, let's see if this works at the mainstream paused live stream. Oh, let's see if this works at the mainstream paused live stream. Oh, let's see if this works at the mainstream paused live stream. Oh, darn it, still looping. It might be because of the live stream mute. Oh, okay.
Lovey. They went pick ban pro spectate. Lovey. So it kind of fucks up our
they
draft
went pick ban
whole idea. Pick ban pro spectate, like the one with your cool graphic. So it kind of fucks up our
they
draft
went pick ban
whole idea.
I sent the link over to you.
Pick ban pro spectate, like the one with your cool graphic.
I'm gonna need you to say something real quick. Okay, ready? We're gonna test again. 1, 2, 3, go. Test.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, Prince of heavenly hosts,
Okay,
by the
I figured
power
out
of
what's
God.
wrong. I was watching my own stream and I was taking in the audio. Okay, so I just had to mute it. There was also some settings shenanigans in there. Alright, my audio didn't sound super great. Let me see if it's just distorting. If anyone in chat can say if it sounds any better now.
I'm going to be inviting you.
No?
I'm going to be inviting you into this.
Distorting. If anyone in chat can say if it sounds any better now. Okay, thanks for sending me the link. The cool infographic I had was for specifically the champ select when we spectate. So that won't be affected at all. And then I have the draft link for, so. Yeah, they can use either. Oh, okay. I am not in a spectator spot right now. And we don't have to have room for a bot. Yeah.
slight spectator delay, anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, how are they against diamonds? Bro, what? What?
It shows the highest rank. That includes TFT.
It wasn't TFT specific, I don't believe. Yeah, also, Kane no Mai.
Mm-hmm. What about?
Yeah, they're diamond and flex.
Oh. I'm in spectate. Pog!
Maybe something isn't casting practice.
Sure. Edit
Mayhaps.
video. Let's see here. Misfits versus. Do you know what the other team is?
Vinos, Goons.
Vinos, Goons.
I put it in chat for you. Like, it's not that one. Discord specific.
Oh, and you gave me the. Oh, I didn't realize you gave me that link.
Also, I think you misspelled Misfits. There's a S after the second I. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I didn't realize you sent me the pick band.
That we're not using that anymore. I got your new draft lol. Bam. There you go.
You got me the pick band. Awesome sauce. That's a little weird that it's showing up like this, but it'll work for now. Yeah, I've got the draft link showed up. It looks a little weird here, but it's functional. I love my new computer. This stream is making me use 1% of my CPU. Yeah, we are just waiting for the Goons to show up. They're having their last champion in. Looks like Misfits is all up and ready. It should be an exciting match. This is a best of 3, right? And this is going to be in the Style Esports bracket. The Piltover division. Excellent. I don't remember what the stakes are here. I can quick try and see if they are not ready. Oh, they're having laptop troubles. Let's see. Yeah, we're live right now. I don't think it's the first. We've been kind of in these for a little bit. That's style. Team rankings, weekly summary, game results, playoff games. Mac. Yeah, here we go. It's the Piltover division. Noxus Piltover. This is Misfits. Oh, it's PF Goons. Oh, where is Misfits? Oh, Misfits is here. It is the Noxus division. And Vinos Goons. This is the losers bracket, which means whoever loses is going to be out. Being this is the knockout stage, the winner gets to go into quarterfinals for this with a total grand prize for first place of being $75, which is like not bad. You know, making money playing League of Legends, always nice to have.
Potentially making money while playing with friends. I think that's
Something we've both done as captains on separate teams, and in this league. Well, I don't think we made money then. I think we just broke even. But yeah, we've played together. Okay. Yeah, it looks like both teams here don't like duelist top lanes. They probably are going to be trying to force some 5v5 compositions that are fairly simple to complete. Not to mention, split pushers can be a little annoying to deal with when the pressure is so hot and when those leads start getting exaggerated. So Fiora and Camille can be kind of oppressive in that way. I'm surprised that there's no Jax ban, being he's as strong as he is and kind of fulfills that same role. But Trundle here, that also kind of fulfills that as well. And I suppose Yon a little bit as well. What do you think Misfits' Prio pick is going to be here, Verdant? Both are good picks. Yeah, Ornn's going to enable a lot of scaling in the side of Misfits. Unfortunately, picking top first, I'm assuming it's not going to be an Ornn mid or an Ornn support. Those are a lot less common, although entirely possible. That does mean they're going to be able to get a free counter pick on the side of there. And that does make sense why you'd want to be banning Camille there. It does not feel good. But it looks like the Jax response is going to be kind of annoying for them to deal with. Not going to be able to get those brittle procs off with the Counter-Strike, being able to dodge all of those auto attacks and stop things once he jumps out with his Q. That would be a pretty good counter pick here with that being snapped in. We'll have to see if they pick something else. I'm guessing they're either going to go for jungle or AD carry here, forcing Misfits to respond in some way to try and execute a leverage in the draft phase when the game really starts to come together and you see the game plan starting to form. Yeah.
Control mage pick out of Vinos Goons, which I think is going to be quite strong. You could throw the ball onto Jax. Jax jumps in the middle of everyone, and then gravitational pull just grabs everyone together. But that's going to be a potential J4 pick here in response to this. Cataclysm, really good setup to go with Ornn if you get them all into a choke. I mean, you're able to then execute a very efficient play with Ornn.
Yeah, it's a very interesting draft phase. It's not very often you get to see the first picks on both teams being the top lane. And the return mid lane was something I did not expect, but Orianna's going to help give them some of that team fight that I was predicting earlier because of how all these bans were going. And like you mentioned, Jax is a pretty good ball delivery service, trying to help utilize that. And if you can get everyone clumped together, Counter-Strike's going to be able to stun more people as well. And there's some pretty good scaling. And if worse comes to worse, you do have some decent poke coming out of Orianna as well, doing a lot of damage. So we'll have to see what the final pick for Vinos Goons is going to be, how they're going to try and execute this first half of draft phase, and how this is potentially going to be affecting the ban phase here. No AD carries being picked, Renata Glask being the only support, so I'm going to guess they're going to be fighting over bot lane and how that's going to be operating in the draft phase here, being jungle's kind of been picked out by Misfits, and Goons has kind of a decent lineup the way they have, pending on this third pick here.
Right now, I think Renata Glask is pretty strong here. It kind of doesn't allow Jax to just dive into your back line. You have the ultimate clean out from Renata Glask and really just kind of messing everything up. But also, it enables the J4 to just jump in there quite freely, get the Cataclysm off, and kind of stay in there. Obviously, most of the time, if you go the more bruiser route, he'll die pretty quickly. But if you throw bailout onto him, it buys him more of that crucial time to just continue to live through that fight.
Yeah, getting some resets kind of with all the healing you get out from bailout. If you're able to get it super early, your health bar is going to be a lot more favorable. But it looks like these 5v5 team fights is exactly what we're predicting. Both teams having anti-dive, with Renata Glask and Xayah trying to get her feathers set up, trying to get 3 feathers, or just get her ultimate out to try and decentivize any amount of dive here. Not to mention, we're also seeing a Kassadin ban been very popular to see, has good scaling, good inevitability, and the silence can kind of prevent some of these things, and they can kind of just blow up some of these backlines, especially if your defensive options are down, and Kassadin can get those. That certainly makes sense, which is also why we're seeing a return ban of Olaf, who just kind of doesn't care and can ignore a lot of the CC and just go through it. So front to back is going to be the name of the game here. Whoever gets a nice lead in this early game is going to be able to extend these fights, get some leverage out of any of these fights for around objectives, or if any skirmish just comes about, that's really going to extend this. I'm going to be predicting a decent amount of fighting, trying to get some leverage there so that their team fight is just going to be that much more.
I think Olaf is definitely a very interesting ban here, because as J4, you do have the option to use the Cataclysm on him, and then now he's stuck in a walled-off area, and then you just flag pull out.
Yeah, you can't Ragnarok.
And then, say, if he starts up his Ragnarok, you Cataclysm, you jump on out, there it goes. Now he's stuck inside this area, and most of the time, Olaf, if he's going to be going jungle, he almost always goes ghost. So that really could be, that could have been a potential counter, but we're not going to see that, obviously. So that's going to be a Sona pickup from sides. They definitely started out strong with Jax wanting to potentially dive, but from here on out, they really wanted him to go with a lot of these peel tools.
Yeah, a lot of peel tools. If they get a good vision setup, like Sona's going to be able to ultimate there, just being able to CC stuff, and there's going to be good follow-up with Orianna, Xayah, and of course Jax as well. So they could be going for a little bit of pick as a side note for their composition, which always kind of helps, just getting any sort of numbers advantage in any elo. Just generally make sure you win a lot of those fights, unless someone is so devastatingly far ahead, then numbers aren't necessarily going to leverage it out, because the big target might count as 2, 3, or more people.
So right now, I think Jinx is a very good pickup here. They have a lot of squishy changes across the board, minus Jax, obviously. But if Jinx can get online, she can absolutely rip through that squad.
Yeah, Jinx certainly can if she's able to auto. However, it's going to be a little awkward with Xayah's feathers. She's going to have to be careful to misstep. Orianna's going to have a little bit more range than you're used to when she sits at about 1,000 for her ultimate, so she can just QR if you're not careful. Of course, Jinx does have some self-peel, so it's going to be harder for Jax or any of these characters to come in if she gets her traps in nice and easy. But she's also fairly vulnerable, so if she doesn't have Renata around her, she might be dying, and Wukong can really kind of capitalize on this. It looks like Wukong or Jax is going to jump in, Orianna is going to yank them all in, Wukong's going to keep them up. It's going to be so much damage. They've got a lot of AoE. This is a lot of good team fight, and some potential good picks, like I was maybe seeing with how they were picking with that Sona pick. So Goons' vision is going to be a little bit more important than it normally is.
So I think an important thing to be looking
Yeah, they've got good dive. The early game to mid game is really going to set the tone for Vinos Goons. A lot of damage and pretty good scaling, but not quite as good as you would see with Jinx and Ornn with the ornaments there. Xayah still has some pretty good scaling in return, but Jinx's auto attack is pretty hefty and is certainly loving the second item, IE. But Xayah is also loving this second item. Navori does a lot of damage. Your E is a good source of damage here, and you're both be going litho tempo, which means you're going to be doing a lot of auto attacks. The range, of course, going to Jinx. So these bot laners are going to be important. I'm guessing they're going to be fighting for soul around here or getting the prio for it. Rift Herald obviously going to be important as well, but I don't think we're going to see as many skirmishes there. There's going to be a lot of setup for mid and bot with how these comps want to be playing.
So right now, looking at all across the board, where do you think the majority of the ganks are going to be going on both sides? If I had to personally guess, I would say Misfits wants to gank bot side. Right now you have a Sona. Sona can get caught out pretty easily. She's a little bit mobile. She does have the speed up on her E and with Accelerando, but she's going to have a little bit of a rough time. Also, Xayah is pretty mobile in the early game 3-6. But what do you gank as Vinos? Who is the easy target?
Honestly, mid lane. Yeah. Orianna is also kind of immobile, but the thing is, Xayah has some self-peel, and so does Sona. Even pre-6, they have some self-peel. And as Renata, you only have a little bit of engage, and if you're not able to really layer that up with Jinx and Jarvan or Renata's setup, you can accidentally pull people or push people out of those traps. Makes things dangerous. But with mid lane there, Swain already has some CC, plus as Jarvan you have some as well, and with how Orianna's squishy and might be over pushing, it's not too difficult to do here because she's got a lot more AoE damage, a little bit more clear than Swain, so long as he's not just spam queuing the wave. That Orianna might be a little bit more vulnerable. And you can, of course, transition a mid into some power plates, an objective, or you can just rotate and get this really fluid motion around stuff. So I would expect Jarvan to be ganking mid lane.
All right. And for Wukong, where do you think he wants to be focusing?
Wukong could try and go for Ornn, but it's going to be a little bit difficult early on. My guess is because he's got that unstoppable. You could chunk him up, try and prevent some of that scaling, but you could also try and do some of these contests. Say, hey, I kind of know where Jarvan is. I'm going to challenge him on some of these fights because he's a little bit stronger early on from my understanding. Or he could just also play for bot lane as well. Pre-6, it's going to be a little bit harder, but post-6, I think he's going to be able to gank bot lane just a little bit more because he can kind of just shadow clone in ult and get on top of Jinx regardless of the traps, because if you're stuck, your clone won't be.
Yeah, that's quite fair. I'm a little bit kind of unfamiliar of how this bot lane really goes. In past seasons I haven't seen a lot of Xayah, so I personally don't have a lot of experience and understanding of this. Jinx scales harder than Xayah, correct?
Yeah, it depends on how late we're talking into the game. Xayah's spikes is going to happen a little bit sooner, and she's still going to stay consistently strong after that second item. Obviously, third item makes a big deal, but 3 items on Jinx is really big as well. The problem is she has to be able to get those auto attacks off, and with how Xayah's ultimate operates and Jax's counter-strike works, and potentially the invisibility we're going to see from Wukong, she might be hitting just a clone, which is a big deal when you're trying to set that up. She does scale harder because of her items, and she tends to go Gathering Storm as well, and she just gets so much natural attack speed. So she will scale technically harder, but you have to be really nailing a lot of those auto attacks, and you have to be able to weave in. The moment some of that pressure happens, Xayah is going to excel a little bit more.
All right, and before we get into the commercial break, which team do you think has the draft advantage? Just one word, who do you think has it?
I would say Goons.
To get on with game 1.
Mike should be cool.
St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares that Team 1. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle. Be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares.
Vision and pick. Oh, that's weird that it's.
Vision control. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting right into it. This is going to be, again, Misfits versus Vinos Goons coming at each other here in the losers bracket of the Noxian Division for Style Esports. Right now, we're going to be seeing both teams effectively going for kind of a 5-point here, so not going to be doing any early aggression coming out. But as we kind of get into this, do we see really any interesting keystones or summoners here?
Yeah, I find it particularly interesting that Ornn still went grass despite having some of those struggles I mentioned earlier, getting the brittle proc. But on top of that, you still need auto attacks in order to get grasp as well. Of course, it's decent scaling should you be able to get them off, but it will be difficult to do so. It's also important to note, MSF Fearless ended up going Ghost here rather than the standard heal, which is being done by Obito instead, which makes sense because of their enchanter. You get some benefit out of that, especially if you have Revitalize, but not going like Exhaust or something when it's kind of clear that some people are going to want to be jumping on top of you. Ghost still has its merits. You're going to be able to chase people down, get a lot of autos in, and do more kiting and get a lot of more ability out of your movement speed. And especially when you're going with a longsword, trying to get some of that earlier damage in there rather than trying to be a little bit more sturdy with a Dorian's Blade, going with the triple pot there.
So right now we're going to be seeing just kind of a standard J4 clear. It doesn't look like he's going to be going towards the bot side. Nice grab on the mid lane there. But J4 not going to be going over to his Raps, Krugs, and then looking for a bot lane play, and that's going to be Wukong going over to Gromp, so he's just going to go for a full clear, not going to be going over for an early kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, no early kill in the bot lane at all. It doesn't necessarily make sense to go for an early quad clear. Fearless is really going to need some of that XP, some of those items in order to do something, so probably just going to be playing for Ornn on Leaky Wallow, maybe getting a setup there, possibly catching out the Jax. A good exchange on the side of Misfits, trying to poke out Karen Nomaui. She's going to be able to sustain a little bit of that, though.
Nomai is going to be taking a bit of damage, but it's not going to be getting too low. But J4 is going to be cutting down his clear a bit. He's going to be skipping over wolves and going right to blue. It might be looking for a potential play on the top side of the map, just because Jax is quite shoved up. He's putting in the work against Ornn here.
Yep.
Yeah, but that counter-strike just is going to be quite brutal for him.
Yeah, just like we mentioned, that was a good exchange with the Flame Breath. They're trying to get some damage in there, but counter-strike is going to hit you back and do a decent chunk of damage. This slow push could be punished, but it looks like we're going to be going for wolves instead from Toxic Eden, just trying to get some of that gold in there. It's a little bit difficult to dive in Ornn early on, so this certainly makes some sense, trying not to punish him. And he still has a decent amount of mana, so he could just ward hop out, being he has one in his pocket right now.
I'm kind of interested to see if he'll be leveling up the Bellows Breath, or he'll be going for, I believe, what is it, the Volcanic Rupture. But it looks like he's going to be going for the Bellows Breath, trying to get at least that max health magic damage. But unable to get those brittle procs, of course. But
yeah, both junglers here just doing full clear into Scuttle Crab. The little bit faster clear coming out of a not troll account. Going to be able to set up there, but it looks like we're going for a potential play. Bot side, nothing's going to be coming to fruition because of how the wave has been managed. Sitting in the middle means they might just be able to get out. Though I've spoken too soon. Toxic Eden trying to go in here.
Crandall's going to get grabbed. He's going to be flashing out, trying to get away best he can. They're trying to trade back some of this damage. Obito getting low. The bailout used. And that's going to be a safe play for the side of Misfits. They're able to get out both of Crandall's sons there. Heal was used. Ooh. Good Bell's Breath being able to stop the stun and get a little bit of damage back onto him. But Jax has Biscuit Delivery, so he's just going to be able to heal his way through this lane.
And a Dorian Shield. And Dorian Shield is going to be able to heal it as well. Going back to that bot gank, surviving is very important. And that kind of highlights some of my points there. You're able to resustain because you have heals with your support. Nomai is going to be able to just heal them back up. Of course, the summoners being down will mean they're going to be a little bit more vulnerable as well. And Misfits didn't have to use any as well, but you showed where your jungler is. And more importantly, you didn't get a recall. Not Troll is going to be ahead because they have more items on their character. And they didn't have to gank, so you don't necessarily know where they're going to be.
An important thing to be looking at throughout this game is also we have Gustwalker on Wukong, and we have Moss Stomper on J4. So Wukong's definitely wanting to look for some of these engages, obviously coming out of the brushes, but he's going to be possibly attempting to go for this early dragon, or at least getting the vision out, and then pushing Swain off of wave here.
Yeah, Cloudy with a chance of engage. Don't think we're going to be seeing any tower dives anytime soon with how these champions are going to be playing. All these waves being pushed up, getting some recalls in the bot side. It's a little bit of a delayed push, although Crano is going to be missing stuff. Oh, that was an excellent route coming out of Quinn there, trying to get some of those stacks. I know it's a little bit harder to get some of those lined up with how much Flame's going to be able to space stuff out with the range that you just have naturally on Orianna. We're hitting some nice power spikes here at level 6. Lanes are going to be changing up. This is a huge change in how stuff's going to be going throughout.
So Troll's trying to go for this dragon, but he's getting chunked out pretty low here, and Quinn and Obito are just going to pinch him out there, and that's going to be a lot of time wasted by him.
Yeah.
So that's just going to slow down that kind of that early tempo he had.
Yeah, all of that advantage, all that speed clear and gold that he had, trying to do that, sneak it in. It's not solo queue. This is 5v5 organized play in a competition. They're going to be able to catch that out. And with how Misfits was pushing the bot lane, they were going to be free to try and rotate either for the dragon or trying to get vision set up to not get ganked and protect that objective, which is a win con for both teams. Inferno Drake giving you an extra 6% AP and 6% AD really does help on both people, especially when your attack damage is so low to start out with some of these champions. A little extra does help on Jinx.
So right now, just kind of both these teams just absolutely wanting to play this very, very slow. We have Cull seen on both sides. We have Hasty on the top side having Cull, but then we also have Fearless having his Cull. So, well, a lot of these lanes just want to handshake it and play for the late, and I don't know if that's really going to favor. Right now Hasty and Leaky going to be going at it. Edan's going to be coming in with a follow up, getting the damage through. Right now, that's knock up. Hasty's not looking to be in a good spot. That's coming through, but that's going to be a pickup for Leaky on the top side there.
Excellent play.
The Forge God picking him up there.
Yeah, we saw the counter-strike happen, and that's a lot of your disengage on Jax. And because it was down, we're able to get some more of this CC, jump in, and of course, all of that CC being stacked as it was, enabling a kill on an early champion like Jax. You kind of want to be able to get stuff like that. Well, he's not early, but he's a little bit more early game oriented than I would say Ornn, who's going to be trying to scale up as much as possible. Just like Jax in some fashion.
Absolutely. And there's just so much damage coming out from the two of them. They have increased attack speed with the Demacian standard, but he popped Grandmaster at arms, but it was not able to keep him alive on that top side. So
it was not able to keep him alive.
Misfits.
Yeah, a very good pickup. And we're sitting fairly even. We're only talking about a 500 gold lead. This might change once an objective comes in, being it's a little bit more gold than First Blood. Not to mention the stats that come with it. But with mid getting some pressure here, that might be enough to turn stuff around. Mid is very important because it's what enables you to rotate. And that's a decent chunk of gold, a little bit more than the gold we were seeing beforehand.
Leaky's getting kind of just thwomp smashed here in the top side and unable to get these minions under the top side tower. So he's just gonna kind of get a little bit harassed into oblivion. And on the bot side of the map, Vinos was able to then pick up the Infernal Drag.
Infernal Drag, that was, like I said, part of the win con for both teams. Of course, playing for top side, we're switching objectives here, 1-for-1. A fair trade, a little bit more gold on the side of Misfits. 700, it's widening up just a little bit, so this early game really coming into play. And with some of the heavy scalers, that's going to be nice for Misfits to just have. The early game is starting to come to an end with some of these towers being chunked and being so close to the 14-minute mark. But Flame getting caught out here.
Ooh. That's going to be a pickup with the Demon Flare. Demon Flare is trying to pull him down low, and Oriana's unable to get the pickup. That's going to be a flash out from Quinn. Is he going to be able to get out? That's going to be a flash from Flame getting the speed up. There's going to be Ghost coming out from Flame as well, but unable to get the grab under the tower. And Quinn barely surviving with his Ghost and flash there.
Yeah, with how the waves are pushing, it's in a basic neutral state, but there's a TP from Flame, so that's going to be favoring her. She's going to be able to pick up that wave. Hasty coming in despite the jungler being nearby. No objectives coming up soon other than any champions that are possibly going to be standing too far up. These waves are going to be very important. Trying to get some XP and gold specifically onto Leaky and Fearless, who really, really want this in order to be able to scale. And of course, there are some stacks we want to be seeing on Quinn with his passive.
Right now, Leaky is going to be trying to go for a potential play here, has the fault, but Hasty's going to be hopping on out of there. They were able to spot out Troll account there, so unable to do anything further there, but just wasting more and more of Jax's mana. But there is a 30 CS lead in the top side. Leaky's that's going to be Nomai getting the
bailout.
The bailout coming through, but that's going to be a return. That's going to be a returned hostile takeover by Renata there, stopping that play in its tracks.
The flash, heal, and ultimates there very important. Just out of one ultimate, we got that much. Don't forget we talked about how much this minions are going to be mattering, how much the XP and gold you're going to be getting out of it, especially when you have Cull. A 20 CS deficit on the bot lane is very important and can't be ignored, especially being the power spikes coming out of Cranial going to be faster. Looks like there's a small brawl here on the top side. I don't think too much is going to be coming over it. Just fighting over the wave, trying to get this Cull stacked and sold so we can finish some of these early items.
So before we had the 600 gold lead on the side of Misfits, but now it's going to be going back over to Vinos. So right now this is just obviously a very back and forth game, but they're that's going to be the flag grab coming in, trying to grab Flame, but Flame is able to get on out. But this is going to be a very back and forth game that's, I think, going to be very level dependent for the side of Misfits. I don't know if they can really secure a lot of this gold quite safely.
Yeah, and we're already seeing a slight level lead in top side and the support.
Grandmaster at Arms coming out, called the Forge God. There's going to be Cataclysm on the mid lane.
And he gets one top and mid.
Wow. The Demon Flame just keeping him barely alive there on the on that mid play.
Some of that extra gold on the top side coming into play, trying to get some stuff there. And of course, having a numbers advantage mid lane, really important. Being able to stack some of that CC. And the overextensions, like I mentioned, is where we're going to be seeing these kills. Putting the gold lead back onto Misfits, very important.
It's right there. Now that's 900 gold swing. So, like, hey, very different game already. But they were able to shove in that wave into the top side. So now that the CS difference in the top side is going to be changing up. But now you have a Jack show on Ornn. Ornn will just kind of be able to just take all of the abuse that Jack's able to put out here.
I did find Jack show very interesting. A lot of tanks top lane have been going with Sunfire Aegis earlier, trying to get them to be getting a little bit more wave push with how their kit goes, because they need that just a little bit more. But Fearless under siege here.
That's going to be hostile takeover missing on Crano. Crano's able to get away. That Featherstorm really getting him out of here, but Edan's wanting to play this.
Oh my God.
Feather pullback is just going to be killing him and take him out. That's over half his health, one go, but now they're going to be catching Quinn here. And Troll's going to be using the Cyclone, getting him quite low, but they're unable to get a pick up here. Quinn's trying to get out with his life. Will he be able to get out? And yes, he will. The bailout going to be used on him, but now you have an Orion coming in from the wings here. And this might be two of them. This is now going to be a Demon Flare. He's going to be getting a little bit of healing, but that's going to be Flame getting the pickup. And that's going to be a Troll account getting the pickup onto Obito.
Yeah, the rocket not being enough there. Like I said, waves, kind of boring, but really important. Setting up that play, being able to rotate. And it's hard to push into Cranial with his ultimate coming in there, being able to root you, take your life in exchange. And that's a lot of damage out of there. We already have a Gale Force, not in that fight yet, although Leaky Wallow under siege here, just getting chunked a little bit.
And an important thing to note is that with that
dragon,
play, they're able to rotate that immediately into that Cloud Drake, and they're going to be picking that up. So right now, a good just kind of swing of events for the side of Vinos Goons.
Yeah, very well played by Vinos Goons. They must have been listening to what I was saying. This was exactly what I was predicting in the draft phase with how things are going. They're going to be playing for these dragons, getting some pryos, and how all these fights are going to be going in, making some fluid exchanges, which can either be pushed mid, take some towers. And we're already seeing some rotations out of Cranial. And being we just hit the 15-minute mark, plates went down at the 14-minute mark. So the early game is done, and with the lead going over to the Goons, that's going to be a nice 1,500 gold lead sitting on them, which is going to be helpful. Some of the gold that they would be wanting on Hasty Boots isn't quite there, who ironically didn't first item Boots, and with Magical Footwear, which is going to be a little bit delayed.
Right now Leaky's going to be in a little bit of a tough spot. He's going to be going down to Hasty.
Yeah,
Hasty is going to be in a good position for this lane. Despite him having the Jack show, he has a Divine Sunder. So if he just jumps in, gets his damage through.
And this code is going to be completed.
Grab onto Flame. Flame's going to be getting low, but the Command Shockwave is going to be putting him back and getting him quite low. Quinn unable to pick anything up, and now has to flash away.
No auto.
That pickup. Yeah, that was quite close on that bot side. That Flame is just putting in a lot of work and a lot of damage. And Quinn has to play the safe. You get a lot of speed up for Flame. Will Flame be able to... Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Flame's going to be flashing in, getting the kill onto Quinn, getting that solo bolo.
Yeah, almost a 4K gold lead, which is enough to end a game in itself. Jax completing the call there, flying into the rift, trying to get mid tower, like I said, very important. Hasty Boots is going down, though, with how low he is in mana, getting cataclysmed, and that's more gold onto Toxic Edan, although they're going to be losing mid from this.
Right now, they're trying to get these hostile takeovers onto Crannel, but every single time he's able to have the Featherstorm get on out of it, and they're unable to really find any further value there. So, as an engage tool, it's been quite lackluster this game so far.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of important we talk about why these plays were occurring. We ended up getting that bot lane turret super early that rotated into a dragon, which is getting us some of this gold, but it enabled an AD carry who's going to be doing a lot more damage to a turret than Flame with Orianna here, being able to push there, and of course that second Rift Herald, getting some extra pressure in there, really setting this up. It's going to be able to be controlling the mid and bot side for them because of these missing towers that are on Misfits, which could set them up for Soul Point, which is coming up in around 2 minutes. So the game could change a lot in that time, but with a 4K goal differential, that's a lot to make up for in that time, trying to stop a Soul Point, and we haven't hit some of these critical points. We haven't seen an ornament come out quite yet, with only sitting at level 12 on both the top laners. And of course, we're already seeing a 1 level lead on both bot laners, the AD carry and the support. And with the top tower being so low.
AC take 2 tower shots here, but now you have Sona here on the top side here, has the crescendo up, so they might be trying to look for a potential dive. Well, never mind. Wukong's going to be backing off, so no troll is going to be looking for the cyclone here. But now we're going to be getting mid lane excitement. Crannel versus Edan. You get the Cataclysm off, but unable to get the further pickup onto Crannel.
Yeah, Flash is coming out because there is no ultimate. Of course, if and heal, yes, of course. And Featherstorm can't get you out of terrain, importantly, even if it was up.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it could.
No, you can't go over. You can't go over terrain with that. Maybe there's an exception for Cataclysm, but not one that I'm aware of, which really does force out some of these engages. Like Hasty Boots.
Ooh, we might be seeing Call the Forge God that's coming through. Will he be able to get the hop away? The Brittle Hawk is up. That's going to be Flash coming out from Hasty. He's going to be hopping away.
No,
he's going to be barely living here, but that's going to be the Super Mega Death Rocket almost picking up. And Hasty Boots here, but unable to find the pickup for Fearless.
It was a good attempt. It was a good attempt. When you get those cross-map plays, does it not feel good when that happens? But you also get a lot of gold, and you're able to really set up some of these lanes how they are. Although, with some of these ultimates being down, she's not going to be able to walk away ultimate and hit some of these people. So the vision isn't going to be here for Dragon at 20 minutes, which 5 seconds till it comes up, and it's going to be a 5v4 unless Leaky Wallow TP's in.
Right now, Jax is going to be beating him there, and he has no Call the Forge God, so right now you're missing this massive engage tool. Oh, this is going to be a TP coming in from him. Is Leaky going to be able to find anything? Right now, Troll count kind of playing in the wings. Edan trying to get the pull grab, unable to get anything. Oh, this is brewing. This is brewing, ladies and gentlemen. Are they able to get a pickup? They're able to pull in Hasty. Hasty's going to be fully diving in. Edan's going to be getting the free-man Cataclysm in the background. The hostile takeover just making them all go berserk, and that's going to be a big old shutdown going over to Swain. Flame trying to get out best he can, unable to get away. And now he's going to be a Hasty Boots, and Quinn going to be going at it. But that's going to be that's going to be Hasty getting on out, and Fearless is able to get the last kill on that bot side. Going to be picking up Troll account, and that's going to be going over to the side of Misfits.
Yeah, they weren't able to quite pick up Fearless here. Like I said in the draft phase, diving is kind of dangerous, though some of their peel tools were down. Toxic Eden was able to re-engage, and more importantly, Orbido was able to follow up with a beautiful ultimate, making sure they weren't going to be able to utilize some of this as well. And because of how the feathers are going to be operating on every auto attack, they're not going to be lined up for some of that disengage that you're going to want to be wanting. Plus, with the ultimate not necessarily being up there, means you're going to be able to fight that out, and you've got a lot of AoE on Quinn's Swain, and with rockets on Fearless, although minigun is primarily used to try and single some targets down if they're not clumped up.
So despite the like 3 to 4K, the 4 to 5K gold lead, really on the favor of Vinos Goons, they're able to kind of turn that around to only 2.5. So they really just slowly but surely crawling their way back into this game, and they will scale harder and later. We now have the unspoken parasite going in onto Leaky Wallow. So if he gets another level, he's able to give away his first ornament, but he already has one for himself.
Yeah, one thing you have to consider, Flame and Nome is going to be able to poke people out just a little bit, but if they're forced under because they don't have some of these disengage tools, they're not going to be favored in some of these fights. So even with a gold lead, they're going to get chunked out just like top lane is as well. Divine Sunderer, they're healing them up just a little bit more. Baron's coming up, 7 to 7. And the resistance here are gonna matter. If you're unaware, Baron shreds some of these resistances that we're gonna be seeing. So that could give some of the damage, some of the burst that we need. And some of these big important cooldowns are coming back up. So we're gonna be able to kite people out with Ghost. We're gonna have all of these ultimates up. And we're gonna be seeing some nasty team fights. And we have TP advantage on the side of Goon as well. Should they try and go for a more split push, or they find themselves just a little bit late to some of these team fights if Misfits shows up a little bit sooner.
So, question: now that we have gotten 14 on Ornn, which ornament do you, what teammate do you think is gonna really benefit the most from an ornament here?
Edan is a good contestant, being you're going to be a little bit more sustainable when you're in the front. You might just be ulting it and dying anyways, in which case you might just be wanting it on to either Swain or Jinx here, depending on how you think these fights are going to be playing out. I would guess for Swain, and then your next one after that being on Fearless, because they need to be getting some of these items just a little bit more in order to play this out.
So right now, I think I would have to agree with you. I think the Wormfall and Sacrifice onto Fearless is going to be a little bit early in this game, and I would definitely I'd go for the Leandries onto Swain. He's going to be able to survive through a lot of these fights for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
But right now, you have TP up now for Leaky here, so he's going to be able to help the top side of the map. But it looks like that a storm is going to be brewing here into the top side of the map. They're trying to set up for Baron. But if they're able to really find some chokes here, this could go either way for both teams.
Yeah, it could go either way. We've seen some of these fights turn around on how they're executed. Has mattered a lot. Okay. Some more splitting here. Just trying to set up for Baron. Hasty Boots does have TP. So does Leaky Wallow. But with the way the wave is, that's going to be a little bit more pressure, which means if a 5v5 shows up top, they'll be getting something no matter what on the side of Goons.
Ooh. And right now, is troll count starting it up? Well, no, he's just playing for that, so it's just gonna be a little bit of scrappiness here in the bot lane. But I think Ornn's gonna be taking the losing end of that stick, just because, and he doesn't have the same healing capacity as Jax does. But now, as we're spending more and more of this time, we have about 40 seconds to Drake, and this is a mountain drag, so
yeah,
this could be kind of the nail in the coffin for either team.
Yeah, resistances do matter here a lot with how some of these teams want to be fighting with either just some pokes with the zappers or fishbones on Fearless, or some of the Swain items, or just Oriana's kit in general, just being able to hit people from a distance. This vision.
Right now we haven't. Oh, sorry.
This vision setup is going to matter a little bit. The team that has to go in blind is going to be at a disadvantage, and the team that is behind a gold is going to be at a disadvantage as well. But your team being together is also going to be kind of important. It looks like we're going for a 4-1, or we might just be giving up the dragon and going for the Baron in return on the side of Goons. An interesting trade. Soul isn't coming anytime soon for anyone, so this is a fairly favorable trade for the side of Goons.
And it's right now they're going to be they're trying to go over to the Drake. They got the TP coming in, called the Forge God, unable to stop anything, unable to get the second proc of that, and now this This is potentially going really bad. The Demon Flare trying to get as much damage off, but the Cranial with the Featherstorm pullback is just going to be wiping everyone out damn near by himself. And now Fearless by himself alive, but Troll Count is going to be able to get the pickup there. That's going to be a five-man wipe, and this might be your dagger here.
Yeah, with the TP topside as well. Hasty Boost is going to be able to take this. Cranial's a W, does do more damage, just like Ash's Q does. And with the inhib done at 27 minutes, that's a lot of pressure. And Orbito's only going to be up in 5 seconds, so this tower is going to be falling as well. Toxic, Edan, and Quinn are going to be up shortly, but that's a lot of damage being pumped in here. And with the Baron buff, it might not be enough. We'll have to see if they're able to fight it out, and it looks like that's going to be a no. Game 1 going to Goons.
All right. And that is going to be the game for Game 1, ladies and gentlemen. And we are just... I'm surprised. That was a very, very low kill game. And a lot of objective gaming. And I just realized that the stream was only showing half of the overall screen of that game. So I want to apologize to everybody for that. And for Game 2, we will definitely be working on fixing that and then getting that ready for the next one. But we're going to go to break as we get ready for Game 2.
See you Game 2.
I think they're. I think you might have something wrong with the aspect ratio.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's quite going on, but we are live here into Game 2, seeing the Camille ban yet again.
So I obviously I don't. I think we might be sticking with the same band across the board. We have same sides here, and they're going to be getting rid of the Zaya here for this game on the side of Misfits. They're going to be respecting Crannel's ability to be play the champion.
Yeah, Crannel could be playing that champion quite well. I wasn't able to get some of the pre-stats as I was working on some of the production side, but it looks like the Zaya ban coming out here. A lot of respect for that champion, for sure. A solid pick in the bot lane. I've been liking playing her. She kind of pops off when you kind of get some of those items out.
They're gonna be sticking with the Trundle ban, but looking at last one, they did give up the possible Victor pick for the side of Goons here. So, and Vinos Goons mid laner with Flame, they really want to play some of these control mages mid, and with Victor being opened up, they could pick it potentially early, as they did in the last game, in the first 3 picks.
Yeah, they certainly could go with that pick. It ended up working out pretty well for them, and like you said last time, Ornn,
Hey.
right? We're seeing it
Sejuani's,
here.
Sejuani's good. It's a flex pick. It can go top. It can go jungle. So I'm not surprised to see this pick up here this time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see it either. I've seen it in some of these games as well, so it was certainly a good call out to have. We'll have to see if they have more melee champions to be able to utilize the pick as much as possible. It's going to be interesting how they're going to be responding to a Sejuani. A lot of lockdown coming out of this champion, regardless of what role they end up going, whether it be top or jungle. And it looks like the answer here might be, hey, we'll just kind of peel it away, anti-gravity field, or just major laser it away, make sure they're not at good health, so they're not going to be able to engage as well. We got to play some of these fights a little bit more slowly. Vinos' game plan here is probably going to be a little bit more of the same, with picking another control mage, although it could be changing early on to this draft.
So right now we're going to be seeing the Victor pickup here. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. They definitely just want their control and mage abilities in here. So I'm
honestly, I'm surprised they didn't pick Orianna again. It worked so well. So we'll have to see what they're going to be using to adjust it. And it looks like because Jarvan wasn't picked, they're going to be getting it again.
So there's going to be a return and grab of the J4. Going to be taking that out of Edan's hands. They might be believing that he's going to be playing the Sejuani here. I have seen both Leaky and Eden play it before, so I think it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. And that's going to be a Zeri pickup for the side of Misfits, and I think that's most likely going to be followed up with a Lulu. If I'm going to... it's going to be Renata Glask instead. Wanting the bailout and hostile takeover here. Both extremely strong abilities here.
Yeah, we got a lot of value out of Misfits game 1 with Renata Glask. Don't blame it. And of course, I've seen Fearless do quite well on Zeri, so that might be enough to change how things are going to be going, especially if these games are going to be so dragon-focused with Zeri's ability to fight these things out. The Zaya ban makes sense with her range, and Zeri's range would not be favorable for her, but with how all this is going to be lining up, it's going to be quite nice for her, and she already has some decent peel tools to go with it. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a bounce back with the Sivir, not just the boomerangs, but in a response to how this bot lane is going.
So right now, I think Vinos, they're really going to be possibly setting up for a front-to-back style comp. Front-to-back or dive. Sivir can kind of enable both of those. But I think we're going to be seeing the team picking their support. Vinos is probably going to be picking their support in the fourth slot, if I had to guess. And that's going to really show, or kind of tip their hand a little bit as to what comp style they really want to be looking for this game. But they're going to be getting rid of the Kassadin out of the pool again. Obviously, we don't want any Kassadin coming through.
Yeah, it's the same bans from last time is probably what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
And we saw Goons last time just say, hey, we'll do dive or 5v5. Our 5v5 won't be as strong, but we will be able to pick you just a little bit more than you will, and we'll be able to utilize that number advantage to get that. And of course, they've had some relatively smart macro, like trading that second dragon for Misfits into Baron, which transitioned into the game. A good play coming out of Goons, a very clever play. It looks like an Anivia ban coming out here, playing a little bit more for the mid lane, even though Victor's already been banned, or Victor's already been picked, I should say. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing they're going to be playing for mid lane a little bit more this game.
So we're going to be getting into this pick, but that's going to be a Lulu grab for Sivir here.
Into Azeri.
Yeah, interesting. I think that right now Azeri possibly has a very good setup. You have Victor who has shields, you have J4 who has shields, you have Lulu. So you're going to have a lot of extra movement speed once you use the Chaotic Surge, and then you're able to get a lot of these Q procs off of Zeri. She's going to be running around the map, and that's going to be very hard to stop. And that's going to be a most likely Cho grab here for the top side. And Cho could go jungle as well, but I highly doubt it at this point. I think we're going to be seeing Sej in the jungle, Cho in the top side, and that's going to be, that's going to be a Katarina pickup for the mid lane here.
Yeah, hopefully top lane isn't going to be a feast or famine, kind of like we saw with Misfits feasting on top and Goons kind of being a famine there, not getting a whole lot, I should say, out of the Jax pick from last time, even though it was a little bit more favored. Some of the rotations there, playing strong side top, paid dividends for them. They were able to get a decent chunk out of that, but not enough to take the game. Unfortunately, we'll have to see if that's going to be coming up again. Cho'Gath obviously does become a bit of a monster into the late game with Sivir not being able to take it, but with Set, all that health stacking is gonna kind of hurt when you're on the receiving end of that. It's gonna be the slam. Welcome to the jam.
Yeah, I was gonna say Set's gonna be grabbing one of those big tanky people of either Sejuani or Cho'Gath, and you can just grab him and throw him into the team, and that could be a really good start to a team fight. And with his movement speed up with his Q, and then also Sivir's R, yeah, that's gonna be a little bit tough to get away and kind of space away from. But you do have the hostile takeover being able to potentially put him away. But I think a kind of scary aspect to be looking at is you have only one source of AD damage coming out from Misfits, which is just Zeri. Otherwise, it's almost unanimously just all magic damage coming out from them. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure here on just the side of Misfits to protect the Zeri and for Zeri to perform.
Yeah, that's going to be very important that Zeri does perform into this matchup. Cho'Gath is the only other melee with Sejuani as well, so not going to be able to pick it up quite as well here. I don't think Katarina does count. Well, no, her auto attack range is small enough, so yeah, possibly, but I don't think she wants to be going in quite until some of that CC is going to be landed, because if she gets crowd controlled, her ultimate stops as well with what was it, like Lotus Blade is her ultimate?
Death Lotus.
Death Lotus. Okay, I know I had Lotus in there.
Hey, you were close. You're very close. So we just have a lot of these just amazing team fight ultimates coming in from both sides. Some of the just absolute classics of just Glacial Prison and Hostile Takeover really just kind of warping and sculpting a lot of these fights, versus the Cataclysm and the Wild Growth really being able to help out, and also the Chaos Storm really just changing these up. So I think we got really two good team fight comps, and I'm excited to see them come to a head.
I would disagree with calling these team fight comps. Renata going in, grabbing Sejuani, being able to follow up with the Cho'Gath knock-up, and then Katarina just trying to blow someone up, probably with Electrocute, is going to be able to get some good pickups in here. And of course, Jarvan just being able to jump in with Set and whatnot could get some decent picks. Of course, both of these teams can 5v5, but there's definitely pick potential coming out of both of these. So we can't just say it's going to be better team fight win. Vision into some of these team fights and getting some of these picks set up and executing all of that is going to be very important. Making sure everything's layered correctly, making sure all the damage goes off, and we're not going to be missing anything, like dropping anything at all, which is going to be very important into this.
All right, so kind of looking, an important thing to note is that that's going to be Sejuani top, and that's going to be Cho'Gath jungle. I just noticed that now. So that is cool. It's gonna be quite interesting. You could feed a lot.
Smite Cho'Gath.
Yeah, that is quite difficult. That is quite difficult to outsmite smite the Dino. He just is too much. I think when you hit sort of like the later end of the game, you can smite reasonably from like 2600 health, because you have the smite being 1200 true damage, and then your R towards the later end of the game, obviously if you've gotten some decent amount of stacks, it's around 1400 damage.
Yeah, not quite as bad as early Nunu, being she can Q smite, but still pretty annoying to deal with here.
All right, and as we get ready for the spectator delay, we're going to be going over to commercial, and we will be right back.